Joining us now is the National Security Advisor to President Biden, Jake Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, good morning. Thank you for talking with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get right to it here. Here we are. As many as 190,000 Russian troops have moved in around Ukraine's borders. Could this summit seriously force President Putin to back down, or are we just delaying the inevitable?
Well, from the very beginning of this crisis, we've been clear that we're prepared either way. We're prepared to respond decisively if Russia moves on Ukraine, and we're prepared for diplomacy to settle this peacefully, including at the highest level. So when President Macron asked President Biden yesterday if he was prepared in principle to meet with President Putin if Russia did not invade, of course, President Biden said yes. But every indication we see on the ground right now in terms of the disposition of Russian forces is that they are, in fact, getting prepared for a major attack on Ukraine. So we will not close the door on diplomacy. We will go the extra mile on diplomacy, but we are also prepared with our allies and partners to respond decisively if Russia attacks.
Jake, over the weekend, Ukraine's president called out the U.S. and really the world for not announcing sanctions, right? Not going public with the sanctions, saying that by the time they invade, it's going to be too late. His quote was, "We don't need your sanctions after the bombardment." What do you say to that?
Well, the key thing that he wants to make sure from what we hear from him publicly is that Russia understands exactly what the scope and nature of the sanctions they will face are as a deterrent measure. And we have been clear with the Russians. We have laid out in detail for the Russians the types of measures we will impose that will have an immediate impact on their economy and then a long-term impact on their capacity to marshal national strength. Russia understands that, the world understands that, and we're prepared to move forward if Russia attacks.
And Jake, I know you just heard in the reporting the U.S. has accused Russia of having this list of Ukrainians they plan to kill or kidnap. Just how violent would this invasion, or could it get?
Well, we believe that any military operation of the size, scope, and magnitude of what we believe the Russians are planning will be extremely violent. It will cost the lives of Ukrainians and Russians, civilians and military personnel alike. But we also have intelligence to suggest that there will be an even greater form of brutality, because this will not simply be some conventional war between two armies. It will be a war waged by Russia on the Ukrainian people to repress them, to crush them, to harm them. And that is what we laid out in detail for the UN, because we believe that the world must mobilize to counter this kind of Russian aggression should those tanks roll across the border, as we anticipate they very well may do in the coming hours or days.
Jake, we are convinced that Russia will invade Ukraine. What leads you to believe that they're going to stop at Ukraine?
Well, the most important thing that the president has done with respect to deterrence has been to send thousands of American service members to Poland and Romania and to work with other allies to send forces to NATO allies along NATO's east, the areas that border Ukraine or border Russia. So he has been absolutely clear, the president, that we will defend every inch of NATO territory because we have an Article 5 commitment to do so, and that is a sacred obligation. And if Russia chooses to move against any NATO country, come further west into NATO territory, they will be met with the full force of American and allied might.
Tense situation here. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, thank you for your time this morning.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.